Hello and welcome everyone. Bonjour et bienvenue à tous. Thank you for joining us for this special stamp unveiling and celebration of Eleanor Collins, Canada's First Lady of Jazz. Merci d'être avec nous pour le dévoilement d'un timbre très spécial qui rend hommage à Eleanor Collins, la première dame du jazz au Canada. We are launching this stamp virtually from Vancouver, the home of Miss Collins' jazz career, and her home to this day. I would like to begin by acknowledging that today's virtual unveiling will take place on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. At Canada Post, we start meetings or events with a safety pause or mental wellness moment. It's part of our commitment to keep employees and communities safe. Poste Canada commence généralement ses réunions et ses activités par une pause sécurité ou une pause santé mentale. Ça fait partie de notre engagement à assurer la sécurité des employés et des collectivités. For today's event, I'd like to acknowledge that the pandemic continues to create elevated levels of stress. Fear, stress, and worry are normal in this environment, so be sure you are taking care of yourself. I encourage you to check out the many resources and support available on Wellness Together Canada. Je vous invite à consulter les nombreuses ressources disponibles sur Espace Mieux-être Canada. I'm very excited about today's stamp unveiling. Eleanor Collins is a Canadian jazz legend, an acclaimed performer, and a broadcasting pioneer. Her contributions to Canadian music and television are significant and extensive. To tell us more, I'm delighted to hand the floor to our host today, Suramitra Senatani, Chair of the Board of Directors of Canada Post. Je vais maintenant céder la parole à notre animatrice, Suramitra Senatani, présidente du Conseil d'administration de Poste Canada, qui va nous en dire plus.
Merci Aurélie. Bonjour à tous. Welcome everyone. On behalf of our 70,000 employees at Canada Post, it is such a privilege to pay tribute to Eleanor Collins, truly a groundbreaking Canadian. Through our national stamp program, we celebrate and tell the stories of people who have helped shape Canada. Eleanor is one of those people. A world-class jazz singer, she was one of the first women to host her own national television series in the early days of television. Née à Edmonton en 1919, Eleanor Collins grandit en chantant du gospel avec sa famille et à l'église. Après avoir gagné un concours de talent à 15 ans, elle a commencé à chanter à la radio. She moved to Vancouver in the late 1930s, immersing herself in a thriving jazz scene. CBC featured her on the radio with the gospel group Swing Low Quartet in the 1940s. And in the 1950s, she was seen and heard performing with top musicians of the period. En 1954, la CBC lui offre d'animer l'émission de musique Bamboula à Vancouver. Puis en 1955, Madame Collins anime sa propre émission, The Eleanor Show. Elle devient alors la première artiste jazz canadienne à animer une émission de variété nationale. She continued to appear on television and radio through the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and performed her last concert in Vancouver when she was in her mid-90s. Remarkable. The elegant and graceful Miss Collins once said that wherever you are, you can do everyone some good. Toute sa vie, elle s'est dévouée à sa communauté et à sa famille. She is also known for quietly confronting racial prejudice in her time, which she did by cultivating equality and acceptance through volunteer work. There's so much more I could say about Miss Collins. Instead, we'd like to share with you a few words from individuals who know Eleanor well, personally or professionally. Let's hear from them now.
Have you seen the girl of gray?
I discovered Eleanor Collins when I was working on a preservation project for the CBC Vancouver Archives. And it was amazing. And here's this beautiful woman with a fantastic voice. And I was just amazed.
High-heeled shoes. holding a book.
We know the names of that first lineup of performers. We know them by their first names, like Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, Lena Horne. And I think we in this country, Canada, need to know Eleanor Collins because she is in that first lineup.
With nothing more to
Ever since I first met her in 2009, I cannot believe that every Canadian hasn't heard of Eleanor Collins. That's how well known she should be in our country. She should be a national icon.
Twice I've had her as a special guest for my annual State on Freedom Black History Month concert here in Vancouver. And each time she was standing ovation, people with tears flowing as she delivered her songs. So the first time was she decided to sing It's Not Easy Being Green, you know, the song from the Muppets. But in a Black History Month concert. I mean, who'd have thought of that?
She came out on stage and sang, looking out at the audience, and my God, there's like big burly men crying in their beards. I mean, I tell you, there was not a dry eye in the whole place. A packed audience, and they were just like loving it.
when a warm-hearted woman loves a cold.
You know, she wasn't afraid to put herself out there as a performer and as a band singer, as a radio singer, TV personality, theatrical singer with her work with Theatre Under the Stars, and also in church singing because she had that background in gospel music as well, that she was so versatile and embodied so many different genres and styles of music that all came out as 100% Eleanor Collins.
In love with a cold-hearted man.
An old columnist in the Vancouver Sun once said about Eleanor that she could start fires by rubbing two notes together.
She always conveyed a sense, a belief in the good of people. So when I listen to her to this day, that warmth and that belief in people is palpable. It really comes across. And that you don't get with most performers. Performers are performing. She was communicating.
I mean, there's a lot of singers who have beautiful voices, but they don't necessarily connect with the music in the way that somebody, say, like Billie Holiday, they have a special connection with the music. And I think Eleanor's one of those people.
To see.
For her to have her own television show, the Eleanor Show, named for her, is a remarkable and phenomenal act. And so that alone, I think, is again another moment of singularity for her. And it defied the stereotypes.
Willow, weep for me.
She just has the chops, be it on a nightclub, radio. I've seen some photos of her doing concerts at a shipyard during the Second World War. It's absolutely stunning to me, the range of this woman, this singer, and the way she broke so many boundaries. It's absolutely deserved, perhaps long overdue.
Yes, may all your stars be weathered, and what is good get just better. Come on.
Eleanor is a pioneer in more ways than one. If you talk to her about her family history, you know that they were free people who came up from the United States and came to Canada to homestead land that was being offered. So she comes from pioneers, people who launch out into the unknown and face it with courage and all their strength.
Chasing dreams and placing bets.
When the Collins family moved from Alberta to British Columbia, the white neighborhood they moved into raised a petition to prevent this black family from moving in. But she decided she wanted to help the neighbors understand who they were as people. She volunteered at the local school, taught music, and began to break down the many barriers.
I'm hungry still to see what's down another road.
Eleanor Collins, you never cease to amaze us with your quality and success. You work so hard to earn. You are such an inspiration. God has truly gifted you with many talents, and we know He is pleased with the way you have chosen to use them. You have worked hard for this moment, and we couldn't be more proud of you.
I feel that it has been a great honor in my life to have known you, have shared the stage with you, and to have had the opportunity to learn from one of the best.
Funny how the time just flies.
I'm so glad that Canada Post is recognizing you in this way. It is so richly deserved.
As long as I'm still in the game, I want to play for laughs, for life, for love. So, here's to life.
Thanks to all of you for those wonderful tributes. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next guest, the Honorable Philomena Tassi, Minister of Public Services and Procurement and the Minister responsible for Canada Post.
Hi, I'm Philomena Tassi, Member of Parliament for Hamilton West Ancaster Dundas and Canada's Minister of Public Services and Procurement. I am happy to join you today as we honor Eleanor Collins' legacy as a groundbreaking artist in Canada's television and a major figure in our music history. She is Canada's First Lady of Jazz. What an inspiring legacy. Eleanor has advocated for racial equality throughout her life and career. She blazed a trail for women and Black artists. She continues to inspire emerging and established artists across this country. I'd also like to note that for much of her life, she has been dedicated to charitable work. It is amazing that Eleanor inspired so many and opened so many doors. She has helped many musicians strive to achieve success and to realize their potential. She has made a fundamental contribution to our society and to our culture. Eleanor, on behalf of the Government of Canada, congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. Thank you.
Thank you to Minister Tassi and to all our special guests for sharing their wonderful memories and tributes to Eleanor. Now, the moment we've been waiting for. Et maintenant, le moment que nous attendons tous. It is my pleasure to unveil our latest stamp honoring Eleanor Collins, a world-class musician, groundbreaking performer, and a true Canadian icon. The stamp was designed by Montreal-based Paprika. Il présente une magnifique illustration de David Béliveau, inspirée des photographies de Franz Lindner. Le thème rend parfaitement l'élégance, le professionnalisme et l'influence de Madame Collins. I'd like to personally thank Eleanor and her daughter Judith for their gracious involvement in the stamp's creation over the past several months. It is such a privilege to continue to have Eleanor in our presence. She turned 102 this past November. We spoke with Eleanor shortly after her birthday and are so fortunate to have captured a few comments from her about this recognition. Let's hear from her now.
How do I feel? I feel wonderful and honored. You know, at 102 years old, one doesn't expect to even be remembered. But I am grateful. Now that's something that you can't take away. The honor's there, the excitement even is there. But to really have someone affirm your work and life on a postage stamp, ooh, that is something. There's only one word for that, and that is surreal. But I'm very grateful for many things. Well, grateful to be alive in this new age. And then grateful for the quality of life that somehow I have been able to maintain. And then there's the lovely acknowledgments that I am very grateful for. I'm grateful for each and every one of you who have been a part of this very long journey of mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleanor, for those kind words. You are truly an inspiration. And thank you all for joining us virtually to celebrate Ms. Collins, Canada's First Lady of Jazz. Je vous invite tous à consulter le site web de Poste Canada pour en apprendre plus sur la carrière de Madame Collins et son héritage. You can also purchase the new stamp starting today at post offices across the country and online. That concludes our special event. Please stay safe. Merci à tous et prenez soin de vous.